Welcome to Season 4 of the Biz Show, sponsored by InvestQuire. Discover what's next with this insightful podcast. And now, your hosts, Barry and Lisa. Good morning, Barry. How are you?
I am doing well, Lisa. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I don't know what it is, but whenever I see your face, I smile.
I don't know what it is either. When I see my face in the mirror, I run screaming.
Well, that's a good thing that I feel jovial around you, right? So that's why we're here, because
Yeah,
we're having fun doing our podcasts and teaching people about the ins and outs of businesses, right?
exactly. And I like the word jovial, and I do the same with you, right? When I see you, I get, I'm happy to be around you for sure.
That's
You know,
nice.
we work
You.
well together. We've known each other 20 years, so you know, there's a lot to be said for the duration of the relationship that you and I have.
Exactly. It's all about relationships. You want to make a good one and you want to make a lasting one so that you could be successful in all of your endeavors. But we're having fun here teaching you guys at the Biz Show a thing or two. And hopefully you'll find today's episode really fruitful. What is it on, Barry?
I think so. We mentioned last episode that we were going to insert a quick episode on the differences of AI and which is the best AI for you. And honestly, it's not really which is the best AI for you because actually all of them are really, really good. And all of them have different functions, or should I say, they function better in one area than a different one does. And so that's what we're going to
Yeah.
talk about today, right? Is choosing the right AI for you. And we're talking about ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Perplexity. There's several others out there, but we're going to focus on those four.
Yeah, we're on season 4, episode 24. We're going to break it down, all the different platforms for AI.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes multiple of them to get the job done. So let's talk about which ones offer what and we'll do a comparison so that you can understand the different ones so that when you have a project, you know which one to go to first. So that
Yeah.
is our goal today, to have you choose the right one that's suited for the job.
Yeah, exactly. Just almost every time I talk to somebody, they always ask me, which AI do you use and which is the best one? And I tell
Exactly.
them, you know, all of them, all of them. It depends what you want to do, and that's what we're going to talk about today here, right? Is you know which AI does the best at what, right?
Mhm.
So and I have to preface this: if you are not using AI today in 2026, you are
Yeah.
behind times, right?
Yes, definitely. That's where the world is headed. Everyone's using it. You got to hop on board. And hopefully, after this podcast, you will be able to do that because, each one is specific to what it does. And so you wouldn't want a graphic designer to prepare your tax returns, right? So you want to choose the right one for the project. And so that's what
Exactly.
I want you to be able to match it up quickly and have those at your fingertips. Because not all AI platforms are the same and they each have their strengths and weaknesses and their use cases, that would be greatly matched for specific needs. So the question is not which one is the best, but the better question is which one should I use for this specific job?
Right.
So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Well, let's jump into it. So
Yes.
let's talk. We'll go with the elephant in the room first, right? ChatGPT, and real quick, just it's probably the strongest one out there
Mhm.
as a generalized term, right?
Yes.
So what's it really good at? Well, it's good at helping you create business strategy. And you notice I said the word helping you, right?
Yes.
It's good at brainstorming. It's great at marketing ideals, at sales copy. If you're working on some marketing strategies and stuff like that, it's really good at that. It's good at writing emails for you.
Yes.
You just give it the gist of the email you want to write and say write it, and it does. Um, SOP, right? Standard operating procedures. It's really good at that. Even to help us sometimes on some of our podcast planning, I use it here and there based off of some things that I need a little bit deeper dive into. you know. And I know, Lisa, you don't like the deeper dives because all of a sudden I got a 65-page deeper dive, and you're like,
Yeah,
no. But
you
but
know,
nonetheless, it's the educator in me that really, you know, goes down that path. But your training
when you
material,
say
it
deeper
can
dive, yeah, it
go
makes
ahead.
me think of like back in school when your teacher would ask you to write a 300-word essay on a subject or history subject or what have you. And you're like having to pull out encyclopedias and go to the library and get some resources out of the newspaper, right? And now what the kids are just going to pull it up on ChatGPT. I mean, like, how are the teachers going to know that their children in the classroom are actually learning about the topic or subject when they could just retrieve it in a matter of 30 seconds from ChatGPT? I mean, it just blows my mind. Like, how are students and people going to become educated?
Well, you have a point, and the point is that think about, as you mentioned, when we went back and we had to do reports and pull out encyclopedia, World Encyclopedia. My parents had a set of that, or we went to the library, right? And now
Yeah.
think ahead 50 years. What in 50 years, what are those children or now people going to be
Yeah.
using? Right? Because at this time, ChatGPT is going to be where World Encyclopedia was, and it's going to be something completely different
I
at
mean,
the rate that we're going.
are people going to be less educated or more educated? It's a totally a topic of a dinner conversation. I'm sure you guys are having them already, but yeah, there's a lot of pros and cons to the chat GPT and the AI world. But we are just honing in on what, the chat GPT can do for you. Barry mentioned several different tasks. And I know that some of my friends use it for like marketing. I use it in marketing too, the chat GPT platform. We plug in a picture or speak to exactly what image or flyer that we want to create, and it will create a beautiful flyer in the matter of minutes. And so you could define it, further on, but you may be happy with the first draft, which
Well,
saves you a
yeah,
ton.
but I would use a word of caution. Always check, right?
Yeah,
Because AI will get it wrong. Remember, AI goes out and it searches the internet, and the internet is riddled with false information. So
yeah,
you got to make sure that the information that it's pulling back is factual to you, right? I'm not
exactly.
saying
That's
it. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
still gotta use your brain a little bit, right? You still want to do those checks and balances. I mean, some people are in such a hurry all the time, they're just going to pull it and send it, but don't do that. Dear Barry is
Right.
saying, do not do that. So
No,
it's so good.
always review it, always validate it.
And for me personally, I like to take the information and then I like to make it my own. And so, just like when I was a student getting the information out of encyclopedias, you have to create it out of your own language. So, add your style into it, add your personality, take that information and tweak it a little bit. It'll still save you tons of time, but you can still polish it up and put your finishing touch on it. And it's best used when you need a strategy, you need to write something. It'll save you tons of time, and it structures your ideas and planning or problem solving. But watch out, like Barry said, it could still make mistakes. It could still have a convoluted information from the internet that it's drawing from. So don't use
Right.
it as the final authority or for any legal, tax, medical, or financial decisions. It's always going to be your basis.
Yeah, keep in mind this. What we're saying here goes across all platforms, right? Not just ChatGPT, but also Claude, Gemini, Perplexity, or any of the other that you use. I mean, Canva has got its own AI built into that too, right?
Yeah,
So check that out. If you're using HubSpot, HubSpot's got AI built into that too. Check it. Just
right.
validate. And you mentioned earlier, right? Basically, use your own voice.
Yeah, that's the fun part.
Yeah,
Some of
exactly.
us enjoy
So,
that.
so we mentioned the things that ChatGPT is really, really good at, right? Which
Yeah.
was the business strategies and brainstorming and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Next would be Gemini, right? And Gemini is so ChatGPT's by OpenAI. Um, Gemini is by Google, and it has its own set of strengths that it's really good at, right? And anything to do with Google, it's awesome. So if you run Google Docs or Sheets
Hmm.
or slides or stuff like that, primo, this is the best thing you could have using. So basically, if you're using Google Workspace, and
Right.
if you should be using Gemini because it's going to interface and tie into all this stuff. So if you say create a document, it can create a Google Doc for you with you know with everything that you guys are having your conversation about.
It's,
So what is it really good at? It's really good at drafting up your email responses in Gmail, right? It can summarize. You can tell it to go in and summarize all your emails, and then give
yeah.
you your how many emails did I get today, and prioritize them and give me the top emails. It does that.
Yes.
Gemini does that for you because guess what? It's tied into Google. um, so working inside of the Google Docs, the sheets, the slides, I mentioned all that. Also, if you have Drive, so if you got pictures or anything like that, it can go through and find the pictures that you want to put in there automatically, or
Yeah.
it can decide what are the best pictures for whatever you're describing. And then it
Wow.
can also take meeting notes of your Google Meets meetings and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So it can have a whole note structure set in place, and just
Yeah.
anything to do with Workspace.
I think ChatGPT has been like the mainstay that people like tend to just go to. They have it, the app on their phone. But if you didn't know, Gemini is the one that you want when you're working inside of Google. So its biggest advantage is the convenience because a lot of companies, live inside of the Google Workspace. And so Gemini can reduce the friction or time that is involved in your workday. So it helps users where they're already working instead of having to go outside the box. And its best use is when the work is tied to Google Apps and business productivity. But do watch out for if you're doing a deep dive or a deep strategy, heavy writing, or something really complex in one of your document reviews. You may still prefer another tool depending on the task.
And that deep dive is the next one we're going to jump into, and that's Claude, right?
Claude, I don't know much about Claude. Barry, teach me.
Claude is probably the biggest one, right? So Claude is Elon Musk, right? It's his company, and Claude is great and awesome for long term documents. We're talking 60, 80, 300-page documents. Claude's the one that you want. So if you're writing business manual, HR manuals, employee manuals, reports, stuff like that, Claude is really the go-to for you. Um, because it has um, an algorithm in it that just can continue on and on and on. So all of these AI models, what they do is when you type a sentence, it takes those words and it breaks them into tokens, and then those tokens, they're the words, but now they're tokens, ones and zeros and stuff like that. And then it goes out and finds the ones that are best related to what you said, and then gives you the answer. So Claude does that, but at a much deeper level. So this is where all the detail comes from and stuff, right? And I'll say this, right? I use all of these, and I will take and do my brainstorming in ChatGPT, and then I'll take it over to Perplexity for something, and then I'll take it to Google Docs, and then I'll take it here to Claude. I put my whole package together of what I like, and then I send it back to ChatGPT. It takes time for sure. I'm not going to say it doesn't, but it's going to take a lot less time. If I'm writing a report or something that might take me 3 weeks, I can have it all done in 2 hours.
I think that's what you call thorough, Barry.
But isn't
You're
that
just
what you want in business? You want to be an expert in what you do, right?
exactly. And your new nickname now. I'm going to start calling you Claude because now
Don't
that I
call
know
me Claude.
how complex Claude is, when you're like breaking down material, you are Claude. You are my Claude. I'm going to call you Claude. Forget
Right.
about it, guys. It's the Claude and Lisa podcast, Biz Show.
You're right. And I made a mistake, and I have to recorrect that. Claude is not Elon Musk, it's Anthropic. Uh,
Anthropic. That's what it is. Yes,
it's
yes.
Anthropic, and Elon Musk used to he was one of the first investors and big time investor in it, but then they had a disagreement, and he pulled out and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So it
So
is
when I think
Anthropic.
When I think of Claude, I think of like attorneys because they're just dealing with so much information and they need to
Yeah,
really like scale it down and get to the nitty gritty of it. And so they're doing a lot of careful reviewing and reading, and they have to like draft out all of these formal, like long responses that an attorney would bring to the courthouse. And so Claude could help an attorney do that if you're in that profession. So it's really good at reviewing long document materials and comparing, cases or different large documents, drafting professional policies for your corporation. It'd be great at compiling a huge policy for your company. And it also edits the tone and the clarity of the information that you're trying to draw out. So it's best used when the document task is really heavy and large and lengthy. But watch out because it's not always the first choice for live current research.
right,
So it's
right.
not going to give you like the time, right the moment. It's basically taking a history of knowledge and compiling out your answer. So if current resources matter, then pair it with another tool. That's why Barry said he does use all of the tools because he wants to make sure that he's covering the bases when we're doing a financial review or a review of a company or project that we're raising capital for. So we want to make sure that we are looking at current, historical, all the stats compiled into one. And so we're using more than just Claude and just Gemini and just
Uh,
ChatGPT.
yeah, we're and Perplexity. And here's the thing. I don't know. Several months ago, I probably should do it again. I ran a test, and I actually put a question, and I had Claude and ChatGPT fight over the question, debate it.
Oh, how funny is that?
And it debated and debated and debated and debated. It took hours. It took 12 hours, 13 hours for the
Really?
entire debate because I told it just continue baiting until there's a final verdict. Don't tell me or
Pop
whatever.
some
12
popcorn or what did
hours. What's
oh
that?
my god. Did you pop some popcorn? Just watch this whole
No,
thing
I
over.
went off and did my business and did other stuff. So,
Oh my, how
but
funny.
here's the deal. Initially, I got two different answers, completely different. And finally,
Completely
it started getting closer and closer and closer and closer to the one
different.
answer that finally both of them agreed upon.
Wow. That's like when you have an
So
argument with your wife, right? Could take 12 hours
today, I just leave the room. It's forget it.
to
It's not even
merge.
worth it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So yeah, you exactly. So the next one is perplexity, right? And perplexity is a great research tool, right? So just like Claude, but it's really good at market research and competitive analysis and
Yeah.
current events, right, of what's happening and going on. So those are the industrial trends. So as I said, all of these are good at some stuff, but some are better than others. And I'm not saying that they suck at some things. What I'm saying is Perplexity is better at research than ChatGPT is, or Claude is. But Claude is better at this. So you take a little bit of this and a little bit of that and put it all together. Now you have a realistic, honest report, or whatever the case might be, snapshot.
There you go. Perplexity is useful because it helps you find where the information is coming from. So it gives you reference points. It could be helpful if you're like verifying claims or you need like citations on a subject matter, or maybe you're just researching markets. You could use Perplexity for that. Also, I like it when you want to compare competitors. You can get into Perplexity and compare your competitors before you make that shopping choice or spending money choice. Um, or if you're preparing an investor memo, or if you wanted to do a final check on current data, you can jump into Perplexity to give you that final check off on current data material so that you can help make a decision.
You
The
know,
best,
here
oh, go for it.
I was just
Yeah.
saying, one of the things you said that you really liked was comparing competitors. And I remember about 2 weeks ago, I had a
Yeah.
conversation with somebody, and I told them, well, who are your competitors? And they're like, I don't know.
I don't know.
All right, well, that's going to help you understand the direction you need to go. So go find out. So they said, oh, I I chat GPT who my competitors are, and these are them. I said, okay, use chat GPT. They said, yeah. I said, okay, go try Perplexity. And
Yeah.
then so they came back and they're like, Like, oh my God, ChatGPT gave me 7 and Perplexity gave me 30.
Yeah,
That's how
right.
thorough
It's
it
not
is,
going to
right?
just to be clear, Perplexity is not going to help you compile, a final draft of any written sort of material. It's just going to give you those reference points that you could plug those in to a final draft of, your overview or a marketing piece or what have you. So just know that it's great for research in terms of like finding out data and citations and factual information comparatively or what have you. So watch out for that. It's not your everyday platform for everyday writing or strategy or any creative task. I don't go to Perplexity to make a flyer, so it's more for those other things.
Yeah, definitely. I would stick with ChatGPT if you're making a flyer, or Gemini if you're in the Google system, for
Yeah,
sure.
there you
There's
go.
an honorable mention here that I didn't add into the mix, but that's Copilot, right, by Microsoft.
Hmm.
And honestly, I have not used it that much to really give a dissertation on it one way or the other,
Yeah.
but I will. And I'm going to probably just go out on a limb saying it's probably close and fits within the realm of most of these as well.
Maybe
Um,
Gemini, perhaps, because I mean, you don't use Google Docs so often, so I would think that you would use
yeah,
Copilot. Yeah,
right. I don't use Google
I thought you
Workspace that
would use it
much.
though. You're using it more and more lately.
I am using it more lately. I'm concerned because we've said this before in the past that anything you put inside of Google Workspace, it's not yours. It
Yeah.
is Google's, and they will use it wherever they see fit to use it. So in research for other people, they will use it. You know,
Oh, maybe
um,
our information is going into ChatGPT or into Gemini. It might be going out there somewhere, right? We're all getting
well,
traced and compiled into one huge resource of information.
so here's what I played around, and here's a little tip for you guys, right? So here's a pro tip. It's not in our pro tips, but I'm going to give you an extra pro tip. And the fact is, when you're using AI, the first thing you should probably write into the chat prompt is, this conversation will be considered confidential and just between the two of us. Do
Good tip.
not disseminate or publish it. And it will come back and say, okay, understood.
Wow. Yeah,
This will be a private conversation.
perfect. I love it.
So
Great tip, Barry. We forget to do that, and that's very important.
yeah, it is. So all right, so which tool should you use for which job, right? So ChatGPT, you want to use it for your business strategy, your marketing copy, your sales scripts, right? Business plans, SOPs, stuff like that.
There you go. Yeah, and Gemini, just think of G because Gemini starts with a G, and so does Google Docs. Great for Gmail,
Exactly.
Google Sheets, Google Slides, Google Drive, and meeting summaries. And also, it's a great for like a workspace productivity management. So think of G and Google.
There you go. Anything Google, you should be using Gemini.
Yeah.
Um, Claude, right? So Claude is good for long documents,
Hmm.
contracts, HR, policies, handbooks, white papers, editing, and deep document reviews. And things that would take a research team 6 months to do. It's going to
Yeah.
come back and do it in 5 minutes for you.
That's amazing. And then Perplexity is one of my favorite names. Perplexed. Are you perplexed? Then go to Perplexity because it'll give you the research of current events, competitor research, market research, any source delivery or discovery, and fact checking. We love it for fact checking and also your industry trends. So if you're perplexed, and you'll get your answers on Perplexity.
I'm always perplexed every day.
Yeah, I know. There's many things that perplex us, right?
Right. So I mentioned this earlier, but it begs mentioning again. For InvestQuire, what stack do we use, right? And I told
Yeah.
you I use them all, right? So, um, typically I'll start with Perplexity and do the research piece of it. After I'm done with that, I'll gather that current information and all that stuff. I'll move it into Claude and I'll
Hmm.
ask whatever I need to ask on out of that. And then out of Claude, I'll go into ChatGPT and to go through any marketing, sales, copy, SOPs, and stuff like that. And then in the Gemini, if I'm going to do anything within the Google ecosystem.
There you go. Yeah. And so we actually are coming out with something that's kind of a secret right now, but we're coming out with our own product. So
We
stay
are.
tuned for that. And we will, once it's finished, we will announce it. So we can, I'll share it with you and you guys could use it in your companies or, ask us to consult for you, but on it. But anyway, that is our big secret of the day.
The big secret of the day. And the thing is it's going to. I have conversations with so many people that still just don't understand how to use all this, right? And here's the
Yeah.
deal, you know, and you and I had this conversation earlier today. People just they go to a prompt and they type in whatever they want to type in, and they use it just like they do Google. You're not going to get any good results out of that, right? You really
Yeah.
need to understand prompting, number one. But that's a one-time deal.
Yeah.
So so there's a difference between prompts and agents. And so we're really pushing the agent side now because the agents we can build things with, and we can have agents build up even on top of what we're building, and then that can be continuous and running afterwards. So a lot
Yeah.
of these websites and stuff like that, when they're doing analytics, they're now using agents to do it. So we're writing our own agent is basically what we're doing, and then we're going to allow you guys to use that at some point down the line.
Exactly. Let's not tell them too much. We like to surprise you guys.
That's it. That's all we're saying. You're right.
So yeah, when you're thinking of AI, don't think about the job that you need to get done, but which platform fits the job that you need to get done. So that's what you want to think of, and then you go to that one. If you need help with that, we're here to help you. Just send us a, a, a question on the Biz Show Facebook page. Shoot me and Barry a text. We'll be able to pinpoint you in the right direction. But here we go. Let's wrap up this episode and give them an overview.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So let's. You want to jump into the pro tips here?
Sure.
Let's do
Pro
that. So
tips. We got pro tip number one: do not
so
become loyal to one AI platform. Become loyal to solving your problems efficiently. I think that's where everybody's at. We're like, well, okay, we want to be efficient like our competitor. And so they're like, we got to get into this AI stuff, right?
right. So I hear everybody say ChatGPT, ChatGPT, ChatGPT. Okay, great.
Mm.
But when I hear that, I always ask them, "What are you using it for?" Because then I know what information they're getting.
Or how they are unaware of what the other platforms do.
A lot of them
Right?
don't even never even heard of Perplexity or Gemini.
That's right. So pro tip number two:
Go ahead.
oh, use Perplexity when sources and current information matter. So go to Perplexity when you need the current information and you need to get sources drawn out for you to reference.
Yep.
And pro tip number three: always verify financial, legal, tax, and regulatory and medical information before you submit any document that you draw out of any of these platforms. Please verify it first. You still need to use your
Can't
brain, guys.
stress it enough. And I worry about this, right? Because as people rely more and more and more on AI, how much brain matter are they losing?
Yeah,
Because they're not using that muscle up there to really solve the issues and problems of whatever they might be up against, right? They're
could be
starting to get a crutch, and that crutch is AI. So be careful.
exactly. It could cost you thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So
It
definitely
could. It could very
um,
well.
be careful. Do
Okay.
your checks and balances.
Pro tip number four is to say if you got a good prompt and it works well, pull up notebook or something like and save those prompts, and then you can reuse those prompts, just changing out whatever you need to change out. Right? They will
Right.
become part of your ecosystem as you're using it, and you can even go in Chat GPT, and there's a setting in there, not a setting, but you'll see your chats and a couple different things in there, and there's one in there called automations, and so you can actually set up an automation, and you can tell it when to do that. For instance, I use that to go into my email every Monday and look at my emails and strategize and give me the top emails. I also use that on every Monday morning at 7 a.m. to go out on the internet and find me the top 5 stories in investor relations and the top 5 stories in uh,
Nice.
business brokerage, and then summarize them to me. So every Monday morning I get that. I get to read through all that stuff and things like that. So that works out really well.
You create your own newspaper, your own news feed. Love it.
My own, I should probably turn that into our newsletter, right? Um, so never upload. This is tip number 5. Never upload personal information in there, right? Because what I told you that this is public. Anything that you go in here is public,
Yeah.
but you can tell it to keep it private, and then it will. Well, at least it says it will. Honestly, I don't know if it does or not, but it comes back in a response that tells you. Oh, one other thing I do too is I tell it when you're giving responses, give me real live responses. Don't give me any fluff, and but don't cut any corners either,
Yeah.
right?
Good tip.
Because you will get a lot of that extra verbiage and all this other stuff. I'm like, forget it. I don't need that. I just want
You
the
tell it,
facts.
knock it off, cut it out. Yeah.
Exactly. So
There you
so
go.
don't upload any information that you don't want to get out somewhere.
Yeah. And we're
Right?
kind of making
Consider.
a tip here with things to avoid. I think we're kind of intertwining them. So
I think they are, and
yeah.
then last is number 6 is to use AI to estimate, or I'm sorry, estimate to eliminate repetitive task. Right. So if there's something that you're doing over and over and over again, you can use AI automate it. I mean, if you're going to the bathroom, it can't go to the bathroom for you, but nonetheless, right? If you've got business functions that you have to do, it can do it for you.
That was a funny reference. Anyway. Sorry, guys. We always go into some arena
Last
of
week it was Lisa. This week it's me.
we take turns. So
That's
5
it.
things to avoid: believing every AI response without actually verifying it, and using your brain. Guys, don't forget to use your brain. And 2, using one AI platform for every task. It's not going to work. It's not going to give you what you need to move ahead and to create a good project outcome, right? A good result.
It only gives you
It
half of
might,
the information.
yeah, it might frustrate you. So then you probably will be like, I don't want to use any of it. Um, Writing vague prompts and expecting expert results. So you could, like Barry said, ask more questions, define what you want, tell them no more fluff, and you'll get a more exact result.
Yeah.
Sharing confidential information, he already said, do not do that, and understand the risks of doing that. And thinking your AI replaces your own experience, your own judgment, and your own critical thinking. That's something that you do not want to fall into that trap.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So, in closing, keep in mind AI is a tool, right? So it is not replacing the business owner, right? Business owners who learn how to use this, they will then outperform their competitions and stuff like that. So keep that in mind.
Yeah. And then when it's not always the people with the most AI tools, it's actually people's, experience that counts. They will be the people who know how to use it properly and ask the better questions and choose the right tool for the job. That's going to be the people that stand out, right? So know all of the different AI platforms and choose the right one for the job. And the rest is
Yep.
just executing it, right? And delivery. So thank you guys
Excellent.
for joining us today.
That's a wrap. That's a
That's a
wrap. So
wrap. Now go
listen,
make some money.
yes, definitely. But before you do, make sure you smash that like button and you subscribe to our podcast
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Help us grow so that we can speak to many more people and they can get the word out there, or learn, the information that we're peddling, if you will.
Please subscribe. Don't just listen,
Yes.
subscribe. Do it now,
Right.
guys.
And you can get a hold of Lisa or myself on Facebook at the Biz Show web page, or at investquire.com.
Yeah, reach out, guys, anytime. We'll see you next week.
All right. Bye. Go make some money.
Thank you all for listening to the Biz Show podcast. Subscribe to stay updated and follow Barry and Lisa on Facebook at The Biz Show. Share your comments or suggest business topics that you'd like to hear. Thank you all for listening. Bye.